I've got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, I've got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Yes, I've got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Be alright. Be alright. Be alright. God told Moses to lead all his people out, but Pharaoh's heart was hardened. So he thought he would give them the route. So he chased them all down to the Red Sea shore. He thought he wouldn't have to worry about Moses anymore. But as Moses stretched his rod out over the sea, the Lord answered Moses with a gentle breeze. I can see Moses now with a smile on his face as he told all the people with his gentle grace, singing, I've got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, I've got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Yeah, I've got a feeling everything's gonna be alright. Be alright. Be alright. Be alright. Hi. That was I've Got a Feeling. It is an older song. Last week's I didn't tell you the song I sung last week. Last week was Casting Crowns, and it was The Voice of Truth. And the one before that was Step Into the Water. It is an old hymn. I'm gonna start telling you guys what I'm singing here. It's good to see. It's good to be able to put another video out. I can't physically see you, but I know you guys are there. And it is a great, wonderful opportunity to get to do this. I've been wanting to do these kind of videos for a long time, and the fact that I have made it all the way to this one is amazing. And I am so grateful to God for allowing me the opportunity to teach. So this week's episode is about on dry land. And yes, we're going to be learning about Moses. And I'm going to do the quick version. We're going to go past the plagues to all the way to when after Pharaoh let the Jews go. And of course, those that know your Bible and have heard the story of the 10 plagues, after the 10th plague, which was the death angel coming down and taking all the firstborns in Egypt, unless the blood was applied to the doorposts, the Pharaoh's heart was temporarily unhardened. That means he had a change of heart and he decided to let the Jews go. Now the backstory on this is for centuries, not just a short time, but for centuries, the Jews were slaves to the Egyptians. And they had gotten into this mentality, the slave mentality, that the Egyptians, even though they were cruel and they didn't like being slaves, they got into the mentality that, well, they'll take care of me. And the Jews were losing their identities. By this time, they had almost forgotten who God was. They had remembered the stories of their forefathers, of what they told them, but it was just stories. Kind of like things are now. They're just stories. We've heard the Bible stories. They're just stories. So they got in this mindset that we want to be free, but, we're here. Nothing's going to change. So the Egyptians finally let the Jews go. Moses through God, Moses was able to get the Israelites free. And they were all making a mass exodus. This is where the book comes from, Exodus, which is the word exodus means to flee or to remove yourself. And when they say a mass exodus, they mean a nation fleeing or people fleeing somewhere or leaving. In this case, it was the Jews leaving Egypt to go to their promised land. So they all were leaving. And this wasn't a small task because they weren't all just in Memphis, which was the capital at that time. They were in all over Egypt. So it took a while for everybody to get going to where they were going. So it wasn't just a simple task of gathering all the Jews together. They had to wait. They had to get people going. And I mean, we make it seem like it was a simple task. This wasn't a simple task. I mean, you had to make sure everybody knew what was going on. That they were free. They could go. They could leave. So they started going on their journey. And they were going by, the Bible tells you the path they went. You can even look up maps online if you want to see the path they went. And God told Moses, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart again. And I'm doing this because I want Pharaoh to know who I am. So Moses said, okay. And God said, I want you to go, take this route, and you go to the Red Sea. So Moses went that way. And God hardened Pharaoh's heart again and the people's heart. And they turned around and said, why are we letting these Jews go? There went all our free labor. That's pretty much what they're saying. Hey, all our laborers are gone. We have to do this ourselves now. Have you seen those things that they still have made? Yeah, that was made on the backs of Jews. So they went and the Pharaoh gathered his chosen chariots, and that was numbered to be 600. And then all of the chariots in Egypt. Yeah, that's quite a few chariots just for a group of people. I mean, he was on a mission here. He wanted to get all of these people back, and he was not going to take no for an answer. So he got 600 chariots of his own. That's just his chariot. His chariots, and then all the chariots of Egypt. And every chariot had a captain. I mean, he was going to prove a point. He was out to prove a point. This was no small matter to Pharaoh, okay? I mean, he was on a mission. So the people of Egypt, the Jews, they were fleeing Egypt. And by day, God would lead them with a cloud of a pillar cloud. Or another way of looking at it would be a tornado. And a tornado that wouldn't hurt anybody. And this tornado would lead them by day, and at night, it would be a pillar of fire. So it would be a tornado of fire. I mean, that would be pretty cool. And so this fire would lead them by day. The cloud would lead them by day, and the fire would lead them by night to where they were going. And they followed after it as the Egyptians were coming after them. So The night before they get to the Red Sea, everybody's murmuring. They're saying, the Egyptians are after us. I mean, they could see all these chariots coming behind them. There wasn't no small matter of it. There was 600 and more chariots coming after them. It wasn't there's no way they could not see this big pillar of dust coming after them. I mean, it would be a scary thing to see this, especially after you just got out of Egypt. And here you are bypassing everybody anyways, because God wanted them to bypass the Philistines, because he was not wanting them to want to flee back to Egypt. These people were not in this mindset of conquer or we're going to be free, we're free. They were still in chains. They were still broken in their hearts. So they were fleeing, but it wasn't like it was like I said, they were still slaves, and they still saw Egypt as still a safe place, even though they were treated terribly. So when they saw the Egyptians following them, they started telling Moses, why'd you leave us out here if we're just gonna die? We would have had it better out in Egypt. At least there we were safe. And Moses is like, hold on. Fear not. Be still and watch the salvation of the Lord. Yes, I'm paraphrasing. But the verse there is just so pinnacle to whatever you're facing. Fear not. Be still and watch the salvation of the Lord. He has not left you. He will see us through. So they get to the shores of the Red Sea, and God tells Moses to stretch your rod out and stretch your hand out and part them. And as he did this, the Red Sea parted. And it wasn't wet ground they walked on, it was dry ground. There was no mud to soak their feet. You gotta think where these people were coming from. Shoes was a big deal, and they had a long journey, and mud ruined shoes. But there was no mud. There wasn't any wet ground to speak of. It was dry ground, and here they are walking through columns of water on dry ground. And the entire time Moses is holding his hands apart, keeping the waters at bay. And Pharaoh's army is behind them, and they all get across on dry ground. The entire time Moses' arms are stretched out. There comes a point where Moses' arms start sinking, and his brother and another person comes along and holds his arms up, so that the waters do not come down upon them. And they all get across. And when they get to the end, Moses puts his arms down and the waters come flooding in. And by that time, Pharaoh and all his chariots was in the middle of it. And when the walls of water came down, they came down on Pharaoh. And there was no Pharaoh anymore. And Egypt knew who God was. If you look in the Bible, Egypt doesn't mess with the Jews very often after that. Sometimes we need to remember who God is. We get in the victim mentality. And we allow chains to come upon us. We spend so much time with what was before that we forget how to live. Even as Christians, we become victims. And we get a slave mentality. We view that someone else is going to take care of us, and we forget who God is. God is the provider. And He will not just let you walk through water or walk on through mud. He makes it so you walk on dry ground. He parts the sea for us. He does all these things for us. And even after the Jews got through this, there were times when they wanted to go back to Egypt. Even after God done all this stuff for them, they still wanted to pack up and go back to Egypt. Sometimes, even after we're saved, we want to pack up, or we go and we come back to church. We want to pack up and go back out there. Go back out in the world. The world don't care about you. God cares about you. He wants good things for you. And He wants you to come back home. All this for the Jews was so they could go back home. So they could have a home of their own. So they go and they end up in the wilderness, and that's a whole another story, but all of this was for them to get to the promised land. All of us are going through life, and our number one goal is to get to the promised land. And that is heaven. And we're going to be wandering through this world. Are we going to go through this world with the victim mentality? Or are we going to say, I've got a feeling everything's going to be alright? Because God cannot just part the Red Sea. He can part anything that's going on in your life. And you can walk on dry ground. I'm not saying that Pharaoh's army is not going to follow you. I'm not saying that the bad things that have happened to you are not going to follow you. But God can take care of you. God can take care of that. Sometimes you got to turn around and face what's bothering you. Sometimes you got to turn around and face Pharaoh. But again, that's another story. Alright, we're going to make some dry ground here. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that Connect sand or moon sand, but we're going to do a recipe that doesn't involve sand, because personally I'd rather clean up flour than sand, because sand gets everywhere. It's like glitter. Yeah. So what you need, and we're going to do this real quick, because you need 8 cups of flour. So generally you have flour in your house, or you can get it real cheap. I don't use much flour except for when I'm making cookies for Christmas. Yes, you want to stop by my house during Christmas time. Goodies galore! Okay, that was 3, right? Count them. 4. 5. 6. Seven. One more. Okay. One more. 8. Okay. Okay, looks like I needed a bigger bowl. Alright, and then you want... Where'd my cup go? Put it back in. Okay. Now you want a whole cup of oil. You can use baby oil, coconut oil, olive oil. I'm using corn oil. And you want to pour this in here. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then you gotta mix it. Let's see how this goes. And if we want to add some sugar, we can make some nice bread. Salt. Butter. But we're not making butter. Okay. I don't know. I'm making a mess more than anything. Oh, it smells. So, yeah, you just keep mixing until this thing is all connecty, sandy like. So next week we're going to be learning about casting your nets on the other side. Yeah, we're going to be talking with Jesus again. Mr. Mark. Peter. Believe it or not, it's starting to feel like sand. I think it's like I need a little bit more oil. I am making a mess. Oh well. Yeah, I think I need a little bit more oil here. Alright. Oh, cool. Let's get this tapping. Okay. It's actually coming together quite nicely. See? It's like Play-Doh, but it's connect sand. So a little bit more oil, and then I'm going to add some food coloring, and then we will be done. There we go. So I just added like about a tablespoon. I guess all oils are different though. There we go. That works better. Yeah, that's more like it. Alright. Now you can add glitter to this. You can add sparklies. Yeah. It can be fun. Kind of like making slime. I did that a couple weeks from my Sunday school class. We had a party. Yes, we practiced social distancing and we did all the, smart things, clean things, but then we made slime. I don't know how many batches of slime those kids made. I lost count. Okay, there we go. That's better. Yeah. So if it's not coming together just right, just add a little bit more oil. And it should come out much better, more like sand. It should clump together like that. See? Like that. It should clump together. Like sand. Like wet sand. Without going to the beach. Okay. So, now that we've done that, we just want to add some food coloring. I think I'm not going to, but if you want to make it colorful, all you have to do is add a few drops of food coloring until you get the color that you want, and there you have it. Sand. Alright, that was a fun activity. Alright guys, I'm going to say goodbye. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Parler at Elated to Be Alive. And of course you can follow my YouTube page. And you can catch all my awesome videos, the old ones, the new ones, and everything in between. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Remember, I love you, God loves you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Goodbye!